Welcome.
All right, all right. It's gonna be exciting.
We are up and live, and this is a long time coming. So here we are, Expert Mentors, episode 253. One of the best agent attraction expert mentors we ever did was our previous conversation, which was the time that you were on before, back in August of 20. So we got a lot. That was episode 114. So there's a lot has happened since August of 20.
Yes, sir.
Well, welcome. It's definitely always jump at the opportunity to connect with you and chat with you. Always have my notepad handy when Mr. Hilsman's around. So I'm ready to jump in, man. I guess we are, August of 20 and being able to go back to that, what you were able to do organization wise, really talking about the process, the best practice. And, it's really foundational, right? For anybody looking for agent attraction, building an organization, just a foundational standpoint, go listen to that episode. I think your episode, the one that we did, one of the first ones we did with Andre LaFountain, obviously, when we talked about the wealth chart with Kinder. And then I would say the other one that I would put up there from an agent attraction perspective was Vincent. Second time we had Ku on,
for sure.
He broke down. But honestly, Dan, with those 4 episodes, 4 hours of content is probably you can build any type of organization. I mean, obviously, the lessons learned from then is going to be really valuable in today's conversation. But I would love for you to just kind of fill in the gaps since we last connected here.
Yeah, that's awesome. So first, let me. This might be a little bit of different expert mentors live. First, I want to say thank you to Trevor Ainsworth. And so, life is like what I'm about to describe. So don't know Trevor very well. He reached out to me through my wealth chart posts. I tell people, hey, you reach out to me if you want any help. Had a conversation. And, what these agents don't know is one reason I do that. I do it for many reasons. But one reason is I get about as much or more out of the call usually than they do, even if they have no agents that they've attracted, even if they're kind of lost. Maybe that actually helps me to help have conversations with agents. But what happened with Trevor that was a little bit different was probably 5-ish minutes into the call. It could have been a little bit longer, but not very long into the call. I said a few things. I said, well, hopefully that was helpful to you. And he said, man, it blew my mind. And he goes, that was just a totally game changer. And I'm like, really? And, John, I'm grateful for you, love you. But, on purpose, I was purposeful about not coming on here for a while until
you were trying for a while.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to earn my way back onto this call, and that might be crap between my ears, but whatever. And, I had some things I wanted to get in place before that happened. But what happened on that call, what I told Trevor, and I'm not sharing, I'm an open book. What I told Trevor was that kind of was light bulb moment for him was that in my mind, I'm a past athlete. I think of everything as a game or a competition. But I said, hey, you're really playing 2 games here with the agent attraction piece. Now work with me. There's, different angles to every story. But what I meant by that was the agent that's going to be your producing FLQA standard agent is not usually going to be your big builder, right?
Right.
You're not going to, they can be, and don't discount anyone because you never know. And I'm a good story of that. Like when I tell people when I got off the phone first time with Jay, he probably didn't call John and, Michael Reese and now be saying, guess what, man, I just talked to this guy in Cobb County, Georgia that did 21 deals and he has no team and he was a solo broker and the guys, seemed kind of enthusiastic, but I doubt if they were like going, that's one of our 3, right? Yeah. So what I told Trevor is it's really you're really kind of playing 2 different games here. So you want to have the builders, the people that will help grow your organization while you're doing an expert mentor live call, right? But you also need the people that you can help with their production. And the key word is their help with their production. It's no longer we're recruiting agents, DXP or attracting them to be here. If you're their sponsor, you better darn well be helping with whatever they want help with.
Yeah.
So thank you, Trevor. Without Trevor, that was a light bulb moment for me because when Trevor was so thankful for me doing that, made me aware that get back on with John and see if I can add some value to the community.
Yeah. And, it's one of those things, right? Even when we're, in just full on grow mode, we're not sometimes really aware of really the differences, or just those little slight conversations can just create a slight distinction. And I think what most people don't understand, distinctions are the lever that the hinge that swings, big heavy doors. And it's just something, how it's reframed, how it connects with you. It's just like, knowing you're an athlete, right? Be able to frame something up in an athlete, in an athlete's mind, the way that they think, oh, right. And it clicks. And that's all it takes, right? Just a slight distinction can change worlds. And so being able to get that is key, and never, take that like, it's not going to be value. There's value in every conversation. I think it's just, if you're open to really listen, especially if you're in a seeking type of mindset, to be able to just seek, because you have a rock in your shoe, or you have a constraint that you're really trying to remove, so you can keep moving forward. So, Dan, when had you on, the framework, thinking of you, I think of very accountable, public accountability. Most people don't know this. You are the only one, and I don't even know how long you've been doing this, years. Every month on the first of the month, you post your wealth chart, which is the scoreboard. So let's take that athletic mindset, right? Like you play for the scoreboard, right? You play for obviously other reasons, but it's real hard to stay engaged if you don't know the score. And so how long have you been posting that?
Yeah, man. So I started super early, because it was actually Michael Reese in Key West. I think the second time we went. So that was 5.5 years ago. He didn't say anything to me, but made me have the mental awareness to have accountability, and then have accountability at a high level. And then it had to be spiritual inspiration, because I would not have just normally, my mindset at that time, 5.5 years ago, didn't think this way. But I thought, well, I know what I'll do. I'll send it to all 7 of my upline. And now, so the 7 of my upline are Jay Kinder, or Michael Reese, Jay Kinder, Al Stasic, Cliff Freeman, Brent Go, Sheila, and Rob Flick. Yeah. My next thought was, are you really going to do that? And my next thought was, if you do that, you damn well better not stop.
That's right.
So then the next thought was to put it on Honey Badger, the wealth chart. But that was really the secondary piece. The first piece was to send it to my 7. And, and my next comforting thought was, when I was thinking through this, was, so what, man? I'm not asking them for anything. I'm just sending them my wealth chart, saying I'm staying accountable. I'm not saying, what do I do, or can you help me? And, I didn't think they were going to block me, but, so it's kind of like a screw it. I'm a guy that, if you know me well, it's like all hands on deck. Jay once said, hey, something like, Dan's got 900, he's off and running, doesn't need my help anymore. I reached out to him pretty quick and said, dude, I need more help than ever. What do I know about running a 900 person organization?
Yeah. It really is a superpower to be able to, to ask for help. I think, from a mindset perspective, identify where that constraint is, and then being able to go, okay, what are all the ways, and who do I need to be connecting with to help me work through this constraint? And, you get to a point, right? Like even doing the things and the consistency, you still reach, certain, walls or plateaus, and then you just need help pushing through that. And, so, seeing that, but it really starts being accountable and looking at those metrics. And I know for even me personally, when you take the time and you're looking at those, and it's like, I always, I grew up with wrestlers. And so, like, you look at the scale every day, right? Like, it's not, you don't check in on the scale every so often. Like, you weigh every day. And it's a sick habit I still have to this day. I still look at the scale every day, and it's just part of that ritual. But it just lets me know kind of where things are at. Okay, oh, I'm up a little bit. What did I eat yesterday? What caused that? Right. And so it's even the same thing, like when you're looking at your metrics, and it's, okay, hey, my contacts are down. What's causing that? Did I have enough output yesterday? Did I make enough effort? Did I make enough dials? Oh, my appointments are down. Oh, what's causing it? And I think, taking it back down to that, when I see, people posting statistics, posting, scorecards, things like what you do, how does that help you kind of navigate what you're going to do moving forward? When you post it, you look at it. I mean, like how does that change, your behavior?
Yeah, it molds and shapes you because so I've been doing it coming up on at least 5.5 years, and I did miss 1 month very early, probably about 5 years ago. And you can go fact check me on the first of the month. It's never the 30th or the 31st, never the second. I've never posted on those days, but maybe 5ish years ago, I had a month and I head up my ass and thought, I'm not posting for whatever reason. And that was the month I probably should have posted the most, because early on that taught me that it was that month that I would have had the more growth if I would have posted that month. So to answer your question, if you've been doing it that long, some months you don't want to post, and then some months you're not proud of, and some months you look at it and second guess things and have thoughts. But Curtis Johnson, I'll be thankful to him too. Maybe a year and a half ago, I said, I don't know, man, hadn't it kind of run its play? Maybe I quit posting? And he's like, at this point, you can't. You're doing it for other people. You're not doing it for yourself. And so, thank you, Curtis Johnson. He's one of my favorite people on the planet. And it's right. So I don't really. It helps me. It helps me subconsciously. It helps my organization. It helps me when I was in a free fall to realize that I'm in a free fall and to try to stop it. Or love Connor Steinbrook's idea of, hey, we're building what Connor is doing partially in his group is he more so builds he's building a staircase. And so you can't build the 5th stair before your first stair is there. And so I'm still working on that, bring someone on and get them really on and get them plugged in and get them, get where you can stand firmly on that step to build the next one up. I still have a long way to go on that, but I do buy into that mindset. So the well chart, it's just a big deal. Any accountability or tracking mechanism is a big deal for whatever you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, no, it really is. And Curtis is so spot on, right? Because there's so many people that don't even tell you, as they should, but they look forward to that, right? They just, that accountability, but it also gives them that shot of inspiration that they're looking for that might help them be like, oh, okay, and then just get a little momentum, right? Take that next step, get out on their toes instead of back on their heels. So for you, Dan, the process is there. What's been some of the biggest changes? I mean, you've been in, you're talking Key West, what was that, 18, 19 timeframe. So we've had a long run. And even since the last conversation here on Expert Mentors, like what's been some of the biggest changes that, for you, the things that you've seen, things that are maybe more important now than what you realized back then?
Yeah, so there's been massive changes, in my opinion. So back then it was about, hey, have you heard about EXP? And surprisingly, I'm a group coach with a coaching group, and we make prospecting calls. And I'm shocked to hear some of those live calls from some of the other coaches make. And there are people that really have not looked into EXP. So it's I'll go ahead and squash that mindset belief. I think every day that goes by, there's less people that haven't heard of it. But for me, it's all about production right now in my conversation. So I totally lead with here's what Gene Frederick taught me at one of the Key West things that I've recently just learned, even though he told me this and I thought I learned it 6-ish years ago. It's, here's the script. I'll give you the magical script for recruiting agents. Is you talk to the agent about who they are, where they're at, and what they want. Right. So if you want to help somebody, you can't really talk about you and about EXP and what it's going to, like, how bad I need an FLQA, I'm kind of kidding there, but
they don't care.
Yeah. Then they don't care about my revenue share. And, that's a long shot. You're just looking at needle and haystack. If, Daniel Beer, thank God Daniel Beer told me 5.5 years ago, you recruit people to EXP and you promise them revenue share, they're going to come, they're going to leave because, the numbers, I'm a numbers guy. So if you think you're going to recruit revenue share, you can, but you better be darn good and well aware that it's going to be somewhat similar to an internet lead, right? You're probably going to be at 3-ish% of the people. And then you better have a good pool of people you're talking to if you're really, really going to have revenue. Not to say it can't be done. I'm just saying at a real high level, the number is super low. Now we all have a good starting place, but yeah, so I talk about what they want, like who are you, where are you at, where are you trying to go, and if I can really help you to get there. But what they don't know, what I'm also thinking is this a type of person that I think I can help and I can really get there, as opposed to years ago, it was like, do I think I can recruit them to EXP Realty? Now I'm thinking, look, there's a lot of people that you got to be careful of, because they might not be your avatar at the right time, right? So there's some people that probably not a fit time-wise right now for me to be their sponsor. Not to say that I'm that busy, but I'm just saying I kind of know who I'm looking for and who I'm not. And the person, just like a buyer, right? You get the wrong buyer and you show them 50 houses, and you could have had 2 other buyers that you showed 10 houses, then, you probably shouldn't have, you should have been proactive on the front end with that buyer. Well, real agents are, talking to agents, attracting agents is super similar to working with buyers, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a great distinction, great point there. And, I'm so in agreement of what you said. And I think, is it one of the things that you just have to learn, for a lot of people, learn the hard way of, you're not the hero, you're really the guide in their story. You need to find out what it is they're trying to accomplish and do everything you can to help them get there. Do you see like a lot of people that are trying to recruit agents that are just talking about them and not even, just trying to sell them on why they should make the move, instead of trying to figure out what it is that agent is trying to accomplish?
Yeah, and I still think it's a tremendous opportunity. It's just a little tricky right now in this environment, maybe in this market, talking to agents about an opportunity when you can, if you're talking to the right agent. I just got off the phone with a guy in Tennessee that has a small team, and, he's open to talking about opportunity. So on our next Zoom, we'll talk about opportunity. We'll also talk about systems for his team for production, like Braden Kinder's and Jay Kinder, the funnel, and Michael Reeves cash cow. So I talk a lot about different systems that we have that we can implement for agents for their production. And then, the model is, and then I have a pretty solid way of explaining EXP is our foundation. Look, I wouldn't be here today. I'll go in a little bit of a scripting. I wouldn't be here today if, when I talked to Jay, because I found Jay, EXP didn't find me, I found them. But when I talked to Jay, if he was already in the mindset of, hey, you can come partner with us, and we'll do this and this and this, or you can stay where you're at and swipe your credit card. And so I did have that same conversation. I'm like, thank goodness that EXP model was there to allow someone like Jay Kinder to help me. And I don't mean just Jay, everyone involved, but Jay was kind of like the key guy in the beginning that I had all the conversations with. So if the model hadn't been there and he hadn't been compensated, he probably or may not would have been able to help me. Or if this was like years ago, if I'd have called Jay and said, hey man, can you help me with X, Y, and Z? And he goes, yeah, sure, join NAEA and let me swipe your credit card and we'll help you get to wherever you want to go.
Right.
Yeah. So that the model allows us not to have to do that. And then I get to explain to agents too, hey, the reason I'll be able to help you is because of the model. So I don't need a split. I don't need a transaction fee. I can help you probably at a higher level than your broker if you plug in and let me. I kind of look at it at this point now, John, more like a coach, maybe someone drawing up plays, like who are you and what do you need? I really think I can help most all agents by me not helping them, but getting them to the right person, the right place, the right system, or the right group. So what do you want to accomplish? Hey, I got a person for that. I got a lady you should talk to. I got a guy you should talk to. So if you look at it that way, as just an opportunity coordinator, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's really an interesting, perspective on it, right? Really just kind of being the facilitator based upon what it is. You're not really going to jump in and do the work to help them overcome the challenge. You're just kind of like, oh, I got a guy for that, right? I got a partnership for that. I got somebody that can help navigate you through this kind of the topic and the theme of kind of what we're talking about. But being able to help these partnerships, in relationships that we have with these other agents to help navigate whatever challenges. Might not be your challenge, their challenge. And hey, I got somebody that just solved that. That would be great for you. Is that kind of where you've kind of shifted your approach talking to these agents, instead of let me be the fix for you, right? It's like, hey, I got a partner, or I got somebody that I know that can help you overcome that.
Yep, because after thousands of conversations, that's all they really care about is, and then it's a little tricky and still trying to figure out who they are and where they're at. Because sometimes they don't really know, exactly what they're trying to accomplish, right? So who are you? Where you at? Where are you trying to go? If I could help you that, and then it's really just a matter of timing, and for them to know, like, and trust you. And if they say no to me, then I got to work better on the know, like, and trust part, or I got to be aware that it's a timing issue. Like a lot of in real estate, it's, when the buyer ghosts you, it's rarely about you. It's not about you, boo. I tell right? So it's usually something else. Like you're like, oh man, they didn't like what I had to say, or they don't want blah blah blah, right? No, the dog ran away, or the kid got sick, or or the timing's not right. It's all so much of life. It's all about timing, right? And speaking of timing, let's talk for 1 minute about NAR. Since we're in the NAR timeline, I don't want to talk about NAR today, but I do want to say this about NAR. I can sum it up, my thoughts about this whole thing in one word: opportunity.
Yeah.
Now, it took me many, many years, because I'm not 20 or 30 something, to get to that point mentally. Like a long time ago, I'd been in fear. I'd been, worried about tomorrow. And, maybe I still am a little tiny bit, but I'm also experienced enough to know that anytime I start thinking a little bit of fearful, then, hey, it's just a matter of pivoting, finding the next opportunity, fighting through it. I love what Glenn said. We got to be nimble. But, unless you want to talk about NAR anymore, I think I wrapped that up.
I think you did great. I think, the biggest thing, and I think, what a lot of people, especially, tuned into, just even half of the stuff that I throw out there, it's Dan, it really comes down to what you said with opportunity. However, I think it's an opportunity to step in from a leadership perspective, because besides being a skill, there's two voids in this industry. The first void is there's a void in skill. And I think that's where a lot of the agents that are predominantly built their business around the buy side, because you can be less skilled and still close some transactions on the buy side. You have been in the past, right?
Yep.
I always joke, just make a friend and just be a friend. You're going to close the deal. You might spend 40 hours with them, but you can probably get it there at some point. And where I see the opportunity is improved skill. You can collapse time on the buy side. See, one thing that we know with working with buyers versus working with listings is why we always talk about listings. When you're in production, it's nothing but listings, because it gives you the greatest amount of leverage of your time, because it's a quarter to a third less time to work with the seller. And I was on with Gaydosh's crew and Jim Pruitt this morning. And I said, guys, listen, if you follow the process, CHBA, we created it 10 years ago. If you follow the process, I honestly believe, I would almost be going out on a limb. I would almost guarantee that you could cut working with buyers in half. We know it's 20 to 24 hours clock time working with a buyer on average. I believe if you follow the process, you can cut that in half. I believe you can cut it in half, which would mean you're going to have an opportunity to work with more clients and make more money. Does that mean you should abandon the listing side? Heck no. You should even double down more on the listing side. So that's the first void that's going on in this industry. There's a skill void. The second is a leadership void. And we've seen it just this week, right? And this is the opportunity from an agent attraction standpoint, is because you have, think about it. I mean, really, who has great leaders? Let's just run the tally of number of licensed agents in the United States that are at great companies that have great leadership, that have already been at the forefront. We know EXP is leading the way, right? What Leo did, what the Fast Forward rock stars did, what Glenn's done. Now, I believe they've got some really good leadership at Real. Whatever you want to say with the Kool-Aid company, but just tally it up. How many agents, right? And how many agents are in the US? There is a exponential gap of leadership that is not present within a tremendous amount of the organization within the real estate community. So if me, where I'm giving and focusing my efforts for where agents are starving right now, what they need to understand, they need skills and they need leadership. And if you can solve those two things and really be at the forefront, I just think it opens you up to more conversations. It might not be what they want, but it's what they need. They need skills and they need leadership. What do they want? They probably want more leads. They want more traffic. They want more opportunities. But what they want, versus what they need to improve skill and they need to improve leadership.
Yeah, probably the best recruitment video I've seen lately was the Daniel Beer, Veronica, Tina Call, and even the Leo and Holly. I've had those two downloaded and copy, paste, and send.
Mm-hmm.
I was on. Luckily, I had a friend. He had a friend that's about 100-person independent brokerage, and he said, "Hey, my broker." This was before Holly and before Leo and Holly's Zoom, and actually on my way to Florida, he texted, "Hey, my broker did an 8.5-minute video. You want to see it?" My first thought was no. My next thought was sure, send it to me because I need to know it, right? I need to watch it. And so I thought, yeah, it wasn't bad. And then I watched ours and I was like, holy cow. So then I sent him ours and he's like, send him the one with Daniel and Kyle. And he was like, wow, that's amazing. Some really heavy leaders. But his guy basically was like, hey, we're under 2 billion, so we're not getting sued. And there's going to be a lot of opportunity, and we can keep selling houses, and shouldn't be a problem. Now he was thinking that he's not going to have a problem as the broker, and then he's running a Zillow model, so he's like, and still everything should be fine with Zillow, and stay tuned. I was like, what, 8.5 minutes? It was like kind of nothing. Didn't mention any forms or been out front of anything, and bless his heart, like we say here in the South.
That's a great way to put it. So, yeah, I think looking for that is two great examples of what you just shared right there. Having those two calls and being able to send to agents because they need to hear it, right? They need to know what type of leadership aligning and even to your point earlier, right? And I think this is key for everybody to get, and just back to leveraging these partnerships, right? You look at how do I leverage Mikey? How do I leverage Kinder? How do I leverage Al? How do I leverage Cliff? How do I leverage Gove? How do I leverage Sheila? How do I leverage Rob? Those are all your part. They benefit from your success.
Yep.
So how are you able to know and lean in and leverage them, right? To help navigate whatever business challenges agents are facing, wherever they're at, in whatever stage, whatever market that they're really facing right now.
Yep, that's good stuff. Hey, I've got a couple of things. I took a couple of quick notes. So, a big lesson lately is attitude and mindset, but maybe more so for me is the attitude. So as I am aware of my attitude, and then I talk to other agents, and I hear what they have to say. Attitude is a big indicator of who I want to have conversations with or spend my time with, right? So attitude can solve a lot of problems. I like what Daniel Beer said on the meeting. He said, if you think this is going to be a nightmare, and I'm totally paraphrasing, messing up, but if you think this is going to be bad and maybe you should get out of the business, you're right. And if you think this is going to be wonderful and there's opportunity and we'll be fine and we'll bend and not break, then you're right. You get to be right either way. So that kind of touches on attitude. Something that's been really big for me, and I had 2 of these down. I won't go into detail with this, but I think really the formula is to pray, plan, and prepare. Mm. And I've been on, I think 21 flights in the last 6 years trying to figure this out. So that was a lot of preparing, and so heard a lot of good things and had a lot of people that helped answer some questions. But at some point, you got to get home and take definitive action. So I've taken tons of action, but I think definitive action is super key right now. And the attitude is really something I'm focused on. And I don't mean I've had a bad attitude, but if you're aware of your self-talk and just listen to your self-talk throughout the next 24 to 48 hours, when you catch yourself, especially right now in this environment in real estate, if you catch yourself hearing yourselves have some self-talk that you're not a big fan of, then you get to change it. So Hopefully that's helpful to someone out there as well. But yeah, John, if you have, what other questions might you have for me?
Yeah.
Or
So, I mean, it's a level of awareness, right? It's impossible for us to make any changes without awareness. And so I think, being surrounded into an environment, and I was, chatting with Al Monday evening, and he was just kind of downloading a little bit, like even with Leo's conversation. And he goes, I could not believe the thread. And I had a great conversation with Alex Piak on Friday evening. And he's like, listen, bro, he said, how many agents are there in the US? He goes, less than half sold one home last year. Like, think about that. So a lot of the noise and a lot of the chatter and a lot of the crickets are out there chirping and causing fear. And they don't have the reps, right? They just don't have the skill. But more importantly, they're not in the right environment. They're not around the right leadership. And I think, us as honey badgers, we've kind of insulated ourselves, right? We surround ourselves to the mentors, to the thinking, to the things that serve us, and we really cut out the things that don't. So we don't get to see that. And so it was really eye-opening for Al to really witness that. And he's like, man, he goes, I didn't even know those type of people still existed, right? Because we've been so isolated from that, just of who we communicate with, who we talk to, growth-minded individuals, people that align to our values, believe what we believe. And he says, just wild. And I was like, oh, well, it's behavior. So what causes that behavior? And that behavior stems from their environment, right? The circumstance that the decisions that they've made that have put them into the environment that they're in. And so I think that's where I keep coming back to. There are no business problems. It's just leadership problems. And, when you start to focus on that and in the right way of what you said, at the beginning of this conversation, is find out what it's about them, right? It's kind of that reminder, what's in it for them? What's in it for them? How can I find out where they're struggling, what their desires are, what results they want? And then leveraging, either I have the solution or I have a relationship with somebody that we have some type of collaborative partnership arrangement. We benefit either laterally or actually benefit to help navigate these challenges and solve for people. And I think that's just where we've got to, really, really come back to. And, what's to where we can extract, from you, is because you're having so many agent conversations. I mean, is there a theme? Is there a particular one, thing that you really see that a lot of these agents are struggling with as you're talking to them?
That's a great question. It really is an individual base. That's why I was kind of like joking when I said, hey, here's the script, it's about them. So, I mean, it really, there's so many, I have had thousands of conversations. I think it's thousands, probably, for sure. But it changes, right? And then the weird thing about it is, and I like that to reflect on myself, like I'm a guy that was not recruitable. I mean, people would call me, not a lot. I wasn't a mega producing agent, but I would get calls. And I go, look, I'm on a 94% split. You can't really give me 100. I'm not leaving. I'm never leaving. So what I remind myself of when I'm having agent conversations is a lot of time is timing. Because you could have called me one day. No one called me about EXP, by the way. You could have called me one day, and 34 days later, you could have called me back, and I said, I just moved my license to EXP. And you could have said, hey, 34 days ago, you said you were never leaving, take you off the list. And now you left. And I go, well, stuff happens, right? So I'm mindful of that. I try to think of where I'm at, where I've been, where I'm at, and then have compassion to those agents. I didn't read the threads. Luckily, I won't go into detail for some little bit personal, maybe, but he might not mind me sharing, but I won't. But Michael Reese was letting me aware not too long ago, made me aware that he just has a wall up about information that he'll let into his head or even be around. He made a comment once, like, I'm not going to take a call from that guy because he's going to try to sell me something. And I don't want to have that conversation. And so nothing against that guy or what he was selling, but it was just being aware of the mindset of, no, that information's not getting through to me. So in the threads, I didn't read any of them. And I think because I listened to it on my phone and driving to Florida, so I didn't get to. But if I had to guess, probably a lot higher percentage than I would guess, it was fear-based.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, I mean, I love life principles, and there's just a few reasons for most everything, and so I would have to guess that a lot of that was either fear or lack of knowledge of what they really want, or the fact, like, if they knew what I knew, there's solutions and there's help available. So you don't really need to have that much fear. And I'll do something I've learned right now from some of my leaders. If anyone has any questions or need help, you can give me a call at 678-907-1853. And I did that actually, John, with you in Top Golf with 120 people in the room. And I thought, man, am I really going to do this? Because I'm kind of busy and I can't really take 120 phone calls. Yeah. So I think I had one, and then I think I had two-ish, like 2 weeks later. So, yeah. But I'm sincere, because I'll probably get as much out of the call if you want to call me. Hey, you probably should text me first, but you can call me if I don't pick up, leave a message. I do finally have some traction on the YouTube channel. So I do text everyone back, so I don't know who's calling me. So I usually say I'm tied up. I can text. But yeah, give me a call if you need help, or if you're struggling with something. I've been through a lot. So, hopefully we'll take a 5 or 10, 15 minutes, and maybe I can be some help to you.
Yeah, that's interesting. Let's chat about that for a second, Dan, because, we all face life, right? And, our buddy Stuman, calls it the force of distraction, right? Every time you're trying to level your life up, there's always something that's trying to bring you back down to the average and holding you back. Crab in the bucket, whatever type of framework that you can, grasp your head around, but it is a real thing. And so, it's like escape, it's that escape velocity, right? It's like, trying to get the rocket ship up into orbit, right? It burns the most energy and the most fuel just trying to get off the ground. But once it gets up in its momentum, its flywheel, right? Once the momentum, and this is, one of my favorite exercises that I'm always pushing people to do. Well, where's the momentum? How can we build more momentum? How can we go faster? Where's the boat anchor that we can cut loose so we can go and move faster? And, Michael's example that you share is, growth through subtraction. And it's subtracting the noise, and it's subtracting the things, those crabs. It's that force that's pulling you down. So like for you navigating life, like what's like grounding principles that's important as learning something new, right? Somebody that never had a team, solo agent, right? Attracting agents. Like, how do you learn to push through that resistance that you face head on, and then life comes at you, but how do you keep moving?
Yeah. So it's a choice, right? So we have to make a choice. At one point I had to make a choice. Am I really going to continue to do this? Am I going to build this? And then, I'm human, so there's a little bit of fear involved. And I thought, well, you kind of have two choices. You're either going to do it or you're not. And if you're going to do it, you should do it the best you can. And then there are people, like I just said, look, I have a lot of comfort in knowing that there's people that will help me. Now I still have to do the work. I still have to figure it out. I still have to have all the pain and going through the growth. But, we each have just today. And so you better stop and take a few minutes and try to enjoy whatever you're doing in today. So I love helping people. I struggle and have a lot of pain when I'm not able to help people. I've learned not too long ago that it's dangerous and not healthy for me to care more about people's success than they do. So there's just so many lessons that I've learned. I'm so grateful for all of it. But it's, it's not quite what I thought 6 years ago. I'm going to come to this company. I'm going to tell my friends, they'll all come. They'll tell their friends. No one's ever going to leave. We're all going to make a bunch of money and live happily ever after and retire. And, still haven't made it to Puerto Rico. And, if not look, I'm married to a super smart lady. Once I kind of ran it by her, and she said, well, life's more about, but there's more important things in life than just saving money on taxes. And I was like, really? Huh? You gotta be kidding me. So my next thought was, well, our daughter was 20 at the time, and son's 23. They're not going to live in Puerto Rico. They're probably going to have a family and kids. So that's fine. But yeah, you just got to go with today. Find what you enjoy. I love it more than I don't, or I wouldn't keep doing it. And I'm the guy, I'm the poster child, I'm the guy that's so grateful for EXP and so grateful for the model. And I fully believe in it. And yeah, there's some other models out there that, are similar maybe, but they don't have, look, if someone said, hey, what's the big deal with you and EXP? If people know me might guess, well, revenue share or the stock, or it's not, it's the collaboration, it's the people. Yeah. So the people that we have here that I get to collaborate with, they're not anywhere else. And when I have friends that have left to go to other companies, that's fine and no judgment. But, I do take a second and go, well, how did you leave? How did you leave? And I haven't had anyone bigger than downline leave, but so I'm talking about friends that were at EXP that left. And, so I think, and I wish them well, and I don't have all the information, so there's no judgment, but, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how that would happen, and that you give up on the relationships. They can still be friends and all, but I'm talking about business collaboration opportunity. That's a little bit of a head scratcher for me, how you leave that.
It's, I think, the people that I've seen leave, and it's a misalignment. It goes leadership. It goes back to a misalignment in them not taking advantage of the people in their upline, not taking advantage of the people. And I don't mean that in a bad way, because, I wrestle with it. Man, I have a team member that reaches out to my people that still don't get plugged in, that still don't take advantage of everything that I'm trying to give them. Yeah. And I think that's a big lesson. And like you said just a second ago, and I learned it about 12 years ago when I first started one-on-one coaching. So this is my 145th month of one-on-one coaching. And I learned that lesson about in month 2 or 3, because I cared more for the client's success than they did for their own. Yeah. And I got away with that running our team, running our brokerage, right? Because I could be there, I could pour into them, they could see me. But then you get into a one-on-one dynamic to where you're states away and you're having conversations or Zooms. Yep. And you got to learn real quick to detach from it, because it would have drove me crazier than what it already did from that. And so I think, be there. I think the biggest thing, Dan, when it comes to that, as long as they know you're there and that you'll help them in any way that you can, that's about all you can do. It's one of my favorite signs. It's above the door going into my son's karate class, right? And it's the teacher can open the door, but the student has to walk through. And I think, it's one thing that I know you do extremely well, and it's a lesson, just as a great reminder, is like, we're there. We can provide all of the support, the value, the training, the leadership, everything. But you have to walk through the door. Yep. And I think that's so key, a big get for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's probably just real quick, if you said, if there's one superpower you could have, I go making people plug in or because that's challenging. But, I think it goes back to maybe people's purpose, or, one thing that's super helpful with me that I don't know how many 10 years ago I really, really homed in on. I don't have all the information, so I don't know. I could drive myself crazy trying to figure some of that stuff out. But since I don't have all the information, and I don't need to have all the information, then, everyone gets to make their own decisions. But, it's just, back to the opportunity. And then gratitude, I try to stay super grateful for anything and everything. So, probably what I'm most grateful for, and it's kind of the way life is, right? But for the ass kicking that I took when my efforts went from pretty high to low, and the market shifted. And then, some things on a humorous, not really, but kind of sort of level, and something I did not factor into the model. That's fine, because it's all about learning. But, I didn't factor in the sadness of 2 people getting cancer. I didn't factor in one lady's mom getting cancer. I didn't factor in the bizarre fact that this one lady that got her first listing, and she was on a rebound from having challenges in life, that kind of disappeared. And then I get a call from an out-of-state broker saying, have you seen her? And then I get a text from a friend with a mugshot. And I'm like, holy crap. And then I talked to the out-of-state broker again, and they're like, no, she did have a listing. She doesn't have a listing anymore. And she's being removed from the company, and she's in prison. So I didn't really, when I thought about building a downline, or for lack of better words, then, I didn't factor in that some people are going to go to jail. So if you have a big enough group, you too can have somebody that gets their first listing and they're not going to be a FLQA in 30 days because they're in prison. Yeah. So I'm like, wow, didn't see that one coming.
Yeah. Life, it's crazy, dealing with people. And I think that's, another great lesson is just more people, right? We need to really, keep paying attention. And I think where you have, a unique advantage is all the people you've talked to, right? And so you get to find out what their pain points are, what their challenges are. And you start to see that and have a resource, tool belt of connections to be able to, help them solve those problems. And I think when you start to, that's it, right? We're in the results business. We're in the problem solving business. And, we just need to talk to more people, find out their problems and help them solve it. And, just focus on that. I mean, everything else takes care of itself.
You need a lot of compassion to be a real helpful in that. So if you're, heard as many stories as I have, then it expands your ability to have compassion, to understand when to have compassion. And, there's just so much we have that I am thankful for. And, I love some of those conversations. Some of the best conversations are the ones, though, that you do help the person get over that hump. And John, that probably as well or better than most people that I know, is having that success to help the person get over or accomplish whatever they're trying to accomplish. That's one thing that gets me up in the morning, helps me keep going. So, love being in the people business for the most part.
Yeah, it is. It really is. We have the ones that keep us up at night, that cause the unneeded frustration, but that's also comes back down to, the ability to let go and move on. And, I think just really looking for the people that are looking for you and, trying to find out, where their problem is and what we can do to really help them solve it. And so it's fantastic. Dan, you're always amazing. Definitely love having you on. If you could, just kind of maybe a parting shot or a final thought for honey badgers listening in, thinking about their, growth, agent attraction efforts, because the reality, guys, you guys listening in, you're like, man, I don't want to attract anybody. I just want to focus on production. You're going to need people at some point in your business, in your career, in your life. You're going to need, even Tiger Woods has the best team on the planet. And so you got to have great people around you. And even what Dan's, talking about, what we're talking about here today, you're going to have to attract really good people and help them get where they want to get. And, by doing that with enough people, you're going to get where you want to get. So, kind of final thoughts, these honey badgers heading into this, crazy year. I think we can all agree. We knew it was going to be wild. We just didn't know how wild it was going to get. And still, who knows, right? There's a lot of year left to see how crazy it's going to get, especially before November. So, what would be some kind of thoughts, mindset, behavior, activities that these honey badgers can really grasp onto heading into the future?
Yes, I love that question. So my answer might surprise you a little bit, but where I think the model thrives and is just amazing is for the agent, while you're in production, to have conversations with agents that you're co-oping on deals with, or that you're in conversations throughout the day with. And then you don't have to let them, just ask those questions. How's life? How's business? What's working well? What's not working well? And you don't have to talk about EXP, but then just take that information right there and maybe take a little bit of notes. And then especially if you're going to deal with them, then you can start seeing what they need. And then I love the model. Probably my favorite part of the model is, hey, I got an idea. Why don't we go out and sell property? I tell my leaders, over and over and over again. They're probably sick of it. I haven't had to tell them in a while, but a few years back, it was, hey guys, we're a real estate company that we have a real estate production model, not an MLM model. We're not an MLM company that has a real estate model, right? So tell you what, let's go sell property, help people go sell property, have conversations with those. And then if you just bring a few agents over that offset your cap, what an amazing opportunity. For me, my first year, at the end of my first year, I was like, I cannot believe, and I was a capping agent in my first year. I was not an icon agent, but I was like, I cannot believe they gave me all my money back, plus a good bit of money. I was like, that's just weird, right? 26 years in real estate, I paid them $16K and some junk fees. They gave it all back plus another chunk, And I was like, I got to tell some friends about this. And if that's all the model did for people, then it's a no-brainer. You're here on a 100% program. You're helping a few other people. And then whatever you're doing in production, be successful. You don't have to get real technical with it. Maybe help somebody with that, right? So just go out there and make some real estate friends, and then you can probably bring a few people to the company that you can help and benefit them. And then I'm probably leave it with I'll give you the secret sauce that I give at the end of my wealth chart. So this month's secret sauce has come from a place of love.
Come from a place of love.
Come from a place of love, you can't go wrong.
No, you always win. You do, absolutely. So Dan, I appreciate you. You guys listening in, make sure you get connected with Dan. If you really want to know the foundation, like the structure, the principles of best practices for an organization, go back, watch the episode we did with Dan, several years back, episode 114. It lays it all out. It lays out the whole, agent attraction model, obviously evolution with tech and just AI automations, different value adds, has gone there, but actual, the framework is really what we broke down in episode 114. So definitely a go-to for all of you guys listening in when it comes to agent attraction efforts. Boom. Awesome, brother. Appreciate you. And we'll see you guys on the next episode. See ya.